I think it's about time for an interview. Okay, hey, it's me, Cameron here, or as you guys know me, Ratty Kid. I'm here with Henry D'Angelo, who's knowledgeable on comics and such, and so we're gonna interview him. So just to start it off, Henry, what's the two major types of comics out there?
The two biggest comics you're gonna find are, a lot of superhero comics that I like to read. They're the most common ones. The other one you'll find is, what you know as manga or anime. These originate from Japan. It's got a very distinct art style, and a lot of people read those as well.
What do you prefer? The DC Marvel stuff, or do you like the anime stuff?
I prefer superheroes, but there is good manga out there. Yes.
Okay. Also, just asking, what's your sexuality?
I'm straight.
Okay.
Contrary to popular belief, I'm straight.
Okay. Good. That's a good thing. More about the comics. Let's see. What would be your the two Marvel and DC that they're out there? Which one do you read, and what's the reason you read one over the other?
I read them both.
Is there anyone that you like more, or like a certain person more?
Well, it depends. Like, I'll get a stack of comics, and I'll pick out the ones I want to read most, read those first. And sometimes it's DC, sometimes it's Marvel. It really depends. When Marvel, I like to read X-Men. Those are some of the ones I'll go for first when I'm reading Marvel. Thunderbolts is they're not very well known. Thunderbolts are a team of supervillains who are being rehabilitated, so it's a team book, but you've got guys like Venom and Green Goblin, evil characters trying to work together. It's very interesting. And then DC, Batman is my favorite. I read a lot of Batman right off the bat. Heh.
Okay, and what do you think about all these comics becoming movies? Like, I know there's some like Batman which is pretty famous and everything, and everyone likes it, and then there's others like Ghost Rider and stuff, which people are like, that sucks really bad.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is you have some people who want people to stay 100% true to the comics, which would be nice, but there's sometimes that can't work in a movie. I mean, if you look at Batman, you have the way the Dark Knight did Joker was very well. I mean, Joker's actual origin, he fell into a vat of acid. That's why his face is white, his lips are red, his hair is green. And that is not realistic enough to work in the realistic world that we have in Batman Begins and Dark Knight. That's why he just paints himself that way. And Two-Face, more realistic. He was burned as opposed to having acid thrown in his face. And it's a very grounded take on these really outlandish characters.
Yeah, and another thing, big thing that's been going around is this whole Spider-Man thing. How they're like 1 and 2, yeah, they like them a lot. Then they just hated 3.
The issue with 3 was it was not well constructed. Sam Raimi, the director, he did not want to put the character Venom in there, and the studio told him, you have to put Venom in the movie. And that's why you can see the character was almost stuck in there as an afterthought. And it just sort of got really crowded, and the Peter Parker dancing scene, it got cheesy at some points. But they could not make a Spider-Man 4 work, so they're not making a 4th Spider-Man movie. They are rebooting the entire series with, a new one. He's going to be back in high school. Tobey Maguire won't be Spider-Man anymore. They're going to redo the whole thing, which maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I don't know. I mean, I'll see it, obviously.
Yeah, and what do you think about, this isn't really comic related, but movies such as like Alien, how in the first one, the acid that the aliens had for blood went all the way through the hull of the ship, almost. And then the second one, it barely got through armor. Third one, it's the same thing, it got a little bit weaker. And then the last one, it's even weaker.
The question came out of left field, but the reason for that being was if the acid was that strong through the whole movies, people would be dying left and right, and it wouldn't work. But I've noticed that too.
Yeah, also, and more about the aliens, are you excited for the release of the Alien vs. Predator: World at War. They're putting out. It's basically aliens on Earth, but they've infested the whole entire Earth. They've infested sharks, basically you could say a tiger, I guess. Not really, probably not a tiger, but they've infested that. They've infested big birds. So they're like
Is
different.
this a movie or a comic book?
It's coming out as a movie. It is a comic book, but it's coming out as a movie, and it's basically everything on Earth. They have pretty much. There's an alien form of it because they've taken over everything. Like there's literally like as small as ants. Like aliens that are just that small, which I don't know about the ants thing, but I know about like the maybe tigers and stuff because they're big enough face to get around it. What would you think about like that if that would actually turn into a movie and they're thinking about not having Sigourney Weaver in it?
Well, I mean, that concept just sounds a little ridiculous to me. It's the first I've heard of that. And is this an Alien vs. Predator movie you said, or just a movie?
Yeah, it's Alien vs. Predator, but it's
well. There have been 2 Alien vs. Predator movies so far, and they both sucked. So I would be very hesitant to see another Alien vs. Predator movie. An Alien movie I would go see if it looked good. I mean, without Sigourney Weaver, it'd be kind of tough. I mean, she's a great, her character is so important, and it's not like she's too old. She's aged pretty well.
Yeah.
So, I'm definitely seeing the new Predators movie though. That looked interesting with Lawrence Fishburne, Morpheus, Adrian Brody. So
about that movie, is that going to be a remake of the first one, or is it going to be another
No, it's a whole new. I don't know the plot exactly, but they got a lot of death row inmates or some really scummy people and brought them to some planet, and they're fighting a lot of predators. So it's not gonna be the same cat and mouse game that you had with Arnold in the first Predator going through the jungle. It's gonna be more like a bunch of people against a bunch of predators, and I doubt very few will survive.
Are you worried? That brings up across a point, like in the Saw movies. Very beginning, it was kind of like really strategic. You had to plan it out. Then it just got into a bloodbath of lots of people. Is this going to turn into a bloodbath?
Well, I think Saw everything was pretty planned out, but I mean, a lot of people can get killed. It's going to be pretty ridiculous. It's going to be over the top. I mean, just like Aliens was over the top.
Yeah.
Predators is going to be over the top, but maybe it'll be good. I mean, the trailer I've seen is pretty badass. So.
But yeah, I think that's all the time we have. Thanks for being interviewed, and I guess we'll see you next time.